Hello there, and welcome to a brand new week, which is starting on a Wednesday. The reason why it's starting on a Wednesday is because Monday was actually a bank holiday. I did record a little bit of an intro for Monday, but we actually just went to the park, had a picnic, ourselves and our friends and some of their kids. But I had a little bit of work to do in the morning. I only had a few little bits and pieces which weren't really that eventful. And then myself and Amy went to do a little bit of food shopping for the house, and Amy also wanted to run into Primark. I am in hell. Does anybody else think that Primark is the definition of ADHD in a shop? You just zigzag from like one place to another. Amy's looking for shorts, she can't find them anywhere, but there's 3 floors of women's clothing, and the men get like a wee corner on the top. So that's as much as I recorded for Tuesday, to be quite honest with you. But today is a brand new day. We are up. It is about 9 o'clock in the morning. We're going for breakfast with my mum. So myself and Amy are taking her for breakfast. It was her birthday last Friday, but I did say we wanted to take her for breakfast as well. So we're going to take her to French Village this morning. And then after that, I have a meeting with a mentor of mine. Always good to have mentors. I think like a lot of people sometimes when they're in business get to a point where they think I don't need mentors anymore. I personally think you always need a mentor. Even mentors need mentors. It will get to a point where you feel like maybe you've outgrown that mentor or that person doesn't quite align with what you are doing at that moment in time anymore. That's okay. I think as long as you're transparent about that, as long as you can communicate that and you can say that in a respectful way and you can help them understand that you've either got to a certain point where you don't feel like you need the support anymore, which is actually a testament to them and the work that you've done with them, or vice versa. If it's not moving in the direction that you feel like it's meant to be moving in, if you just know in your gut that you're not moving in a direction that's aligned with what you believe your current purpose is, then it's okay to communicate that and say, look, I don't feel like this is moving in the right direction. I think it's very important for both you as the mentee and also the mentor to understand and respect that communication and understand and respect that those things can happen too. So I'm going to see my mentor after breakfast this morning, come back, and we need to do some work this afternoon. We have some production work to do. So yeah, I'll take you along with me. I actually need to water the plants because it's about 20 degrees. It's been quite hot this week. I think we're having a little bit of a heat wave. So I need to water the plants, get myself sorted. Amy's walking the dog, so she's going to come back. I see a little dog. Hello there, sir. Hello. Did you have a nice walk? Just heading into my meeting now with my mentor. I'm just pulling up. Obviously, it's something that's a bit more private. Okay, just got a little bit more work done. I wasn't able to show you anything from the meeting earlier on. It was a bit too in depth, and there were some details that were a bit more confidential in terms of my clients and the people that I work with. So had to keep it a wee bit more discreet. Maybe next time I'll just prop the camera up and we'll not record the audio and you can see a little bit behind the scenes, or we can show part of the conversation. We'll see what comes up next time. It really just depends on what the agenda is, what we're talking about, how we're flowing to. So things today were very much about contracts and finances and operations. So part of that included some details and we couldn't exactly express that. So I'm sure you'll understand, but that is part of the process. And there are things that you can share, things that legally you can't share. Okay, so I'm just sitting down because I've done a little bit of work this afternoon, which you will have seen some B-roll of, and I have a bit of a deadline because recently I was contacted by a business owner entrepreneurial magazine that wanted to do a feature for their marketing and personal brands in 2026 feature, and I'm still yet to send over the response to all the questions. So essentially, they ask you a bunch of questions to get to know more about you, your business, what you do, your viewpoints. They want to know about personal branding. They want to know about my views on AI and where that's all leading. They want to talk briefly about Momentum Unlocked, our business and marketing conference that we had back in June. They want to know a bit more about my journey, about building trust, about different setbacks and challenges that I have faced and maybe even my clients have faced. There's about 15 questions that I have to answer. So I'm just working through them at the moment. The one I'm currently on is where we're talking about in the highly competitive digital landscape that we have today. What do I believe separates successful brands from those that struggle to gain visibility, essentially? And I always say, people think it's some sort of really clever algorithm hack, and it absolutely isn't, because the thing is, the algorithm is always going to be 5 steps ahead of you at least. It's always changing, it's always adapting, and it's there to predict your next move. So you cannot get ahead of the algorithm because it's already programming a profile on you. And when it does that successfully, it knows exactly what you're going to do next. So, in my opinion, it's two very boring words: honesty and consistency. I know everyone talks about consistency when it comes to things like social media to success, but I do genuinely believe that the first thing is being honest, being truthful to your audience, being honest about what it is that you're doing, what you're selling, what you're promoting, what you're creating behind the scenes, a bit like this, and giving your point of view. I think the brands that are winning today, the businesses that are actually becoming more and more successful, are the ones that are willing to have a viewpoint, the ones that are willing to put their neck on the line. Because the thing is, that's what's going to make you stand out from you and your competitor, especially when your competitor just is in the middle. It's like no man's land. If you're on one or other side of the fence, you have an opportunity to stand out. And here's the thing: you probably will segregate some of the community. You probably will upset some people. You probably will not feel aligned with some people, and they will not feel aligned with you. But that's okay, because you will align with the right people who are rooting for you, your product, your service, whatever it might be at that time, and your competitors will align with their people. However, if you're just going to sit on the fence and you're not going to align with anybody, that's going to be a big issue. So the brands that are winning, the businesses that are willing to shout out, are the ones that are going to stand out in their industry. So I'm answering these questions. Hopefully in a couple of weeks' time, you will see the feature. I will share more about it whenever the news is out. But yeah, I'm really excited to see how this comes together. Hello, happy Thursday. Today is actually going to be a pretty boring day for you because if you're watching it, I am literally in heavy production mode today because I was off on Monday and basically Tuesday. The latter half of the week is pretty heavy in terms of production. So I've just finished up on a reel, which is also going to be an ad for one of our clients, the expansion of their service into the Nordic countries, which is fantastic. So they've been doing training in a particular procedure for a treatment that is currently mostly available in the UK and the USA. Now, with this particular client, they're a distributor, so they're also going to be offering that service to other EU countries, and they're starting with the Nordics. So, this is an ad slash reel post that will be targeted for the likes of Norway, Sweden, Denmark, and I think Iceland as well. Finland actually wasn't in there. I'm just actually going to double check that now because surely that should be in there. So I will actually text Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and Iceland. So I'm just going to confirm that Finland is not on that list. That's pretty much what's happening today. So I'm sorry that it's probably going to be a little bit boring. At the end of last week's vlog, I talked about how we actually offboarded a client. This week was quite interesting because we have sent out 2 proposals so far. It's Thursday. 2 proposals. We have onboarded a new client this week, which you would have seen last week we signed up. So this week has been their onboarding process, which is a little bit up in the air because it's a small business, but the owner has a lot of say, of course, but they're on holiday. So they've been on holiday from Sunday. So I've been working with their business manager, who has been very, very helpful in helping the onboarding process. But now it's all down to creating the content for the first couple of weeks, getting that over, making sure that we're aligned correctly, and then getting it out there
to the audience. We have, I think, probably about two or three spaces left in terms of our capacity for working with clients. And once we reach that capacity, we don't really open the doors as such. We essentially will have maybe a waiting list of inquiries sitting there, and we'll have conversations with those people. But it doesn't necessarily mean because those people are wanting on board that we can take them on board. Because, like I said, I keep things very small, intimate. Think of it like a boutique agency. For me, it's all about consolidating the quality of the output, the quality of the service, and what we're giving and delivering for those clients. That's what we're at the moment. We have a couple of slots available for new clients. And then once those slots close, which we're talking to people about now, then we won't have any space left until such time as either we expand our capacity or we maybe offboard a client and we have a new slot available. That doesn't happen too often, to be quite honest with you. We have a really solid relationship with our clients, and that's something that I personally take a lot of pride in that as well. I want to always make sure that the clients know that they can communicate clearly, that we are transparent, but that also they can trust us in a sense that they are the experts in their field. So they can go and focus on building their business while we focus on building their social media, their strategy for their marketing, different marketing systems. And a lot of our clients will just allow us free reign. They'll maybe scope things out at the very start. And then once they're happy with the quality, they're happy with the way in which it's run, they're happy with that overall partnership. And that is the way we treat it, as a partnership, not necessarily a client to service provider relationship. Once they're happy with that, essentially they're pretty much good to allow us to take free reign. And most clients actually don't really require us to get their approval for posts because we know what we're doing. We've learned everything that we need to know so far about what they're currently doing in their business, where they're at, where they've came from, and where they want to go to. And from that point of the trust is solid and it is set, they can just allow us to work away in what we know we need to do. So, yeah, mini rant over. I'm going to get back into a little bit of work here. Okay, I've just got confirmation. Finland is not in the video. So that's been sorted. That's all done and that is clear, good to go. So we're going to get that handed over to the client officially. But now I'm making a coffee. I have been saying for like the longest time now, since actually we had our last business, I would always love to have a coffee shop. Like, not necessarily a coffee shop that does like food, but like a coffee bar. Something like simplistic, something that really focuses on the quality of the coffee. I'll not go too much into it because I might still do it, but who knows. Okay, so finished up work. I need to go and bring some of the dinner around to Amy. I'm absolutely roasting. Had food and Amy's brought the kids to the park, so the dog haven't been walked and it's 25 degrees. So I would say there's about half the walk between our house and Amy's mum and daddy's house that's in the shade. So I said I would walk Bruno up to our house, and then at least that means that he's had his walk. Tomorrow is Friday, so coffee in the morning. So you'll be coming with me. I don't know where I'm going to go tomorrow, to be honest with you. I know in the first vlog I was talking to camera in the coffee shop. Last week it was quite busy, so I couldn't really do that in Jugo. I'll maybe see where we're going to go. If you have any recommendations for good coffee as well, I'm always looking for really good coffee, especially more of a local independent brand. So some of my favorites in Belfast are the likes of General Merchants, also 5A, but basically General Merchants run by the same team anyway. I love the likes of Duco, Drip, Trait, Established. French Village is also a good shout for a hazelnut latte. I don't drink too much hazelnut lattes these days. I'm always a fan of a good Oliver's coffee. Oliver's on the Lisburn Road. Cafe O is a good one, but again, it's a hit or a miss as to, how busy it's going to be. Output Espresso do a really great coffee with their agave syrup in it. There are a few coffee shops I actually haven't tried in Belfast.
I think Terracotta's one of them. There's one in East Belfast. There's actually probably about two or three in East Belfast that I haven't tried yet that I'd love to try. Then there's the Terrace down by Queen's University. I'm really just shouting out pretty much every coffee shop that there is in Belfast. Um, but honestly, if you're watching this and I've named a place that I haven't tried, or I haven't named a place that I should try, let me know in the comments. I'd really, really love it. I'm a bit of a coffee snob just because I love a good local independent artisan coffee. Unit 5 that I go to quite frequently, Boucher Road, because the roast works are in the back there. They roast their own coffee. I spoke a little bit earlier on about, like, my one of my dreams would be to have a coffee bar, and I'd love something like that. But I know when it comes to business, a lot of coffee shops end up selling food because it's more profitable, or they can turn over more revenue and at least make it more profitable. And like I said, I wouldn't really plan to do food. Ideally just plan to do coffee. Yeah, I can see it in my mind. I've had this idea from probably about 2020, 2021, and it's always been there. So I definitely know I have to do it. And I always said to my friend Decky, because he absolutely loves coffee as well, and he probably wouldn't drink anything other than a cortado. I always say to him, if by 30 I still have this in my mind, do you want to open a coffee shop with me? So we'll see where we're at in life, but yeah, we're only a few years off.
Hello. It has to have his morning attention. Happy Friday. I really feel like, having not driven this car for one whole day, wow, that I haven't driven it in like a week. I suppose that's a good thing because it just shows that you love your car.
So I've came to Terrace today here on the Malone Road. Never actually been to Terrace. Really, really nice. It's near the university, so it's quite chill. I'm just got a little seat in the back here and doing a little bit of work for the vision of the business, where it's going in the next year, where we really want to take it within the next sort of year and 2 years, and then further beyond that. So what's the pros and cons with the freelancers? What's the pros and cons with employees? Those are the things that I'm looking at the minute. I'm really growing and scaling the business. What way do I want to do that? I'm not too sure. That's why I'm working with someone at the minute, a bit of a business mentor who is helping me out determining what it is that I want to do, because at the minute I call it a boutique agency and I work primarily with freelancers and some remote VAs and stuff like that to deliver some aspects, but a lot of it still is very heavily on me. You'll know if you're in the same position as I am that production, quality, output, it's all very heavily relied on you as the business owner. And then there's the admin, there's invoicing, there's the sales, the marketing, the finance, there's the vision of the business, there's the operations, there's everything, and it's all on your shoulders. And it always will be, but when you start bringing people in, that alleviates some of that pressure and you can delegate that. I think I need to get this week's vlog actually finished up in terms of the edits. So for a non-busy Friday, it's going to be a little bit busy. I'm breaking it down into personal goals and then also into business goals. I break it down into those goals for the quarter, and then after that I'll break it down into each goal and how exactly I want to achieve that, or how I can achieve that. So I've got 3 goals for the next quarter in terms of business. I've got about 3 or 4 goals for personal for the next quarter, and then I'll break that down each individually. So, for one of those, I want to, build up a bit more of my intellect as well. I feel like it's always good to be learning, so I need something to stimulate my learning brain at the minute. So one of my goals is to find a new course and learn a new course and complete that. But I then have to break that down. So I need to research courses, see what ones I want, see what ones are going to benefit me, maybe even benefit my personal life or my clients as well in terms of business. So it's a bit of a mixture of both. Search for that new course, sign up for it, and also complete it. It may not be done within quarter 3, but as long as I'm doing it, that's the main thing. So it's a bit of a breakdown of business and life goals too.
First vlog went up last week, or the week before this if you're watching. The next one's going up today, and I've just finished editing it. And I kid you not, I think I've sat here for about 4 hours editing a 30-minute video. So please watch it if you haven't already. Yeah, my commitment is to continue to do this. So the goal is every single week I upload a weekly vlog. I show you what it's like behind the scenes of building a creative and digital marketing business and just take you along for the journey. And there are personal bits of my life in between. I don't show too much of them, but I show bits and pieces because at the end of the day, I am human, as are you. Unless you're a robot watching this, but I don't think we're at that stage in 2026 just yet.
Right, I'm going to take Bruno down to see Blue and Willow.
Do you want to go see Blue Willow? Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Of course, he does.
Hello, say hello. Hello. So we're just going to sign off. Just trying to get something on the table. Anyway, I'm going to sign off for this week. Thank you very much for watching. I hope, while it's been short, I hope it has been sweet. Hello, say goodbye. Say bye, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. Listen, if you're enjoying these videos, do subscribe. They'll come out every week, every Friday, 7 o'clock. This week's been a pretty quick week. Signed off the feature for the magazine that's coming in a couple of weeks. And I just actually got an email about an hour ago. Bruno's just trying to jump. I got an email an hour ago with the final draft, so I'm really excited to have it go live and get published. That will all come in due course, but I will share more information whenever that happens. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to give it a like. Let me know if you've liked anything from this video. If I missed anything, let me know what you would have liked to have seen, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next week. All the best.